Hello, my name is Swiss Bianco. In this video we will brace the mouse. I wanted to make that video for quite a while. Now finally is the time. Kel-Tec unfortunately did discontinue the 380 ACP version of their Absolute Pocket Gun. Unfortunately, that one is no longer made. They made quite many of those pistols. Also, the 32 caliber version is still made. That quite likely has more of a niche market because nobody else much makes 32s anymore. But the 380 version is gone. Nevertheless, as I said, there were quite many made of those, so if you still want to get one, there should be still plenty, at least on the used second-hand market. This one actually was used as well, and then reworked, refinished, and it got a fluff and buff. That is the term on those pistols, because often some of the edges or internally the polishing is not 100% done, so many people like myself rework them internally, make them a bit smoother, lube them up correct and test them out so that they work even better than before. So there are of course many different mouses out there. The Taurus mouse is still made. Ruger make quite some many different mouses, similar of the design of this Kel-Tec here. The Taurus is basically a clone or similar to this one too, and there are others, or were others. There was even a company from Bulgaria, as best as I remember, that made a 380 version with a steel frame, more of a heavy mouse. The advantage of this one is that we have a polymer frame, so it's really lightweight. Ruger makes a double stack mouse that is still going strong really well, but yeah, it's thicker of course because it's double stack. It's more heavier, you have more ammunition in it. So for me the main benefit is that the item is as light as possible and flat, so that is not that much for me. But if you say you want to have a double stack version, that's going to help you, so that would be the way to go. Unfortunately, they don't make any extended magazines yet for that version, as best as I know. For the Kel-Tec version you could get extended magazines up to 15 rounds. Those are made by ProMag. I did test them out quite some time ago, and that works relatively well. I would say that is worth it. Of course, it sticks out of the frame, the 10 rounder and the 15 rounder even more. So it depends what you wanna do. If you wanna have that as a spare magazine, if you need a spare magazine, that is always the question. So what I like the most of those pistols are that they are relatively inexpensive and absolute small and lightweight. Back in the day, such a combination with polymer frame was impossible to find, and if you find something with aluminium frame like we had it from the Czech Republic, that was in 32 caliber and already a bit bigger and more heavy because of the materials and all that. That was often also a simple blowback design, not a locked breech like we have it here, and therefore such mouses nowadays are really nice, especially since the caliber is 380. It's just a typical ammunition that you can get in 380. 95 grain full metal jacket. That is amazing. The difference between back then, between this ammunition now and the more modern hollow points compared to a 32 ACP or even a 22. Of course, there were mouses back then in 22. Beretta made them also in 25 caliber, tip-up bottle versions and all that, but it never somehow got the tactical application like those mouses our days, with the polymer frame, with the locked breech in 380. That was really a godsend. As I came to USA, I discovered that those pistols were made, and of course first they had a bit problems. That's always the case, or most of the time. So you wait about a year and then the problems gonna be sorted out and fixed either way, or you have the thing like Remington that they go bankrupt or close the door and don't make those pistols anymore. So either way it's going to be fixed after about a year, I would say, in the decades that I'm in the business. So the main advantage, I would say, is the compact size and the price. So everybody that can legally carry a firearm in USA should at least get one of the Mauses. Those are double action only, so they are really simple to use and safe to use. Even with the cartridge in the chamber, you can really easy carry those in a proper holster. Holsters are a dime a dozen. You can select from Kydex, different nylon variety, leather. There are X different styles made of those holsters. You just need to make sure that you select a holster that actually encloses the trigger guard in a correct way, so that the holster won't pull the trigger as you holster it, that the holster encloses the trigger so that is protected, and the double action trigger pull is not too light. I would say it's not hard either. It has a good mix in it, so it's tactically really possible to use that firearm effective, but it is not as light as that it would go off by itself. I did not see many reports that actually did shoot by itself or by an accident or something like that, and I carry those pistols, those Mauses, in my pockets for many years by now. It's an older design, so yeah, that works out really well. So everybody should minimum, if they legally can, carry one of those. That is absolute game changer. It's the same, in the same size weight ratio like a AAA flashlight with about 90 lumens and a classic Swiss Army knife. So if you have that with you, you can do already quite a bit. You have scissors, you have toothpick, tweezers, a knife blade, you have light with 90 lumens, you have something that you can shoot with if needed. So something like that everybody should carry. The magazines of those Mauses are made in Italy by Meccar, so really well quality. One thing is the magazine is made in metal, of course, and the magazine button is polymer. So as you press the magazine in, it always scratches a bit over the polymer there. So it's best to press the magazine button in, seat the magazine and let go. So that way you avoid overly wear and tear on the magazine button. Unfortunately, spare parts drying up a bit too. There was a metal version made of that button, but a long time ago, and that, as best as I see, is no longer available. I came too late back then, even back then, so it was sold out, and I could never test that. But for sure that would be a great upgrade to have metal on metal. It's a similar problem or a design like we have by the Glock, like the 43X or 48, that you then can get higher capacity metal magazines, aftermarket of course, and there you need to change the magazine button as well, except it's a magazine from Palmetto State Armory where they use a mix, so that the locking part is polymer and the rest is metal. So yeah, that is a bit something to watch about, but the rest is all well. Once it's cleaned, fluff and buff, then the item works. One last negative, usually the slide assembly is blued. The pins, this assembly pin here as well. They made long time ago a hard chromed version. Unfortunately, I never found one that I could test out, and that is gone for a long time. Then they switched to basically bluening and parkerizing, and sometimes towards the end Cerakote. The Cerakote works really well. That is for sure good, and the bluening and parkerizing, that often creates rust, as those guns are carried in pockets during the summer, what have you, and they get a bit damp and they rust. So that is a bit a problem. This one was rusted as well. The barrel on the inside is not the problem, at least I never had encountered much rust, but the slide on the outside. So what I did on this one is remove the rust so that gets neutralized, dehorn the whole slide, and then cold bluening, and then the Brownells Alumahide 2 in matte black. That's what we have here, and that works out really well in the pocket. I did test other mouses with that finish, and that really works well with a good holster that covers up the slide in a good bit too. So I never had much rust anymore. You don't want to oil or grease the slide too much, like over the bluening, you know, to prevent the rust, because if you need to rack the slide for whatever reason, or hold it by the slide for whatever reason, that gonna get slippery and all that. So it should be dry and easier to grip. But other than that, yeah, a praise of the mouse. Too bad that Kel-Tec did stop. I would like if Kel-Tec would make a bit modernized, a bit upgraded version, especially with stainless steel material, then coated with a durable matte black coating, maybe a diamond-like coating like Glock uses on their parts nowadays here in USA. And yeah, there is still quite some room for changes and all that. So that would be for sure interesting, but maybe they work on it. Who knows? Kel-Tec is always a bit busy and a bit here and there and everywhere. So we see how that goes. But maybe the market is simply saturated for a while. That is how that is. But yeah, great design. Something that I carry basically every day as part of my equipment here legally in USA. In Switzerland, that was of course all impossible. So that much about the mouse.